The abandoned gift. The massive derelict drifted through the darkness beyond Jupiter, a ghost ship larger than any human space station. Commander Sarah Mitchell pressed her gloved hand against the viewport of the salvage vessel Pioneer, watching the alien warship tumble slowly through the void. Its hull bore scars from battles humanity could only imagine. Twisted metal and melted armor plating, telling stories of violence on a scale that made Earth's wars look like playground fights. 3 days ago, the Kylorians had arrived at Earth's doorstep with their fleet of sleek vessels, establishing first contact with humanity. They came in peace, or so they claimed, offering trade agreements and cultural exchanges. But they also brought a warning and a gift that seemed more like an insult. The derelict warship, they explained through their translator devices, was one of their old battle cruisers, damaged beyond repair in their war with the Zalathi Empire decades ago. They were dumping it in human space as a gesture of trust, claiming the worthless hulk might provide humanity with some salvageable materials. Ambassador Thyron had been particularly condescending during the handover ceremony. His elongated blue form towered over the human delegates as his forearms gestured dismissively at the holographic display of the wreck. The Valorant served us well, but her spine is broken. Her core is dead and her weapons are slag. Perhaps your species can find use for the metal. Consider it a token of friendship from a superior civilization to one just beginning to crawl among the stars. Sarah remembered the way Admiral Chen had smiled politely, accepting the gift with grace while his eyes burned with something the Kylorians clearly didn't recognize. Humans had a long history of taking other people's trash and turning it into treasure. The Kylorians left within hours, their ships disappearing into hyperspace jumps that humanity's vessels couldn't yet achieve. They promised to return in one solar rotation to establish formal trade relations, clearly expecting Earth to still be struggling with basic space travel when they came back. Now, floating alongside the derelict with her salvage team, Sarah felt the familiar tingle of excitement that came with every impossible challenge. The Valorant was enormous, nearly 2 kilometers long and half a kilometer wide. Her sensors showed massive gaps in the hull where weapon impacts had torn through multiple decks. The main power core, according to their scans, was completely fused into a solid mass of exotic matter. By Kylorian standards, the ship was indeed dead, but humans had different standards. Chief Engineer Marcus Webb's voice crackled through her helmet comm. "Commander, I'm looking at these structural scans and I've got to say, whoever built this thing over-engineered the hell out of it. The primary framework is intact. Sure, there's damage, but the bones of this ship are solid. It's like someone totaled a Ferrari but left the chassis perfect." Sarah switched to the team channel. All salvage teams were going in. Remember the plan. Document everything, touch nothing without clearance, and watch for automated defenses. The Kylorians said the ship was dead, but that doesn't mean there aren't still some reflexes left. The first team to board was led by Lieutenant Commander Jessica Park, a former Navy SEAL who had transitioned to space operations when humanity established its orbital defense force. Her team cut through a hull breach near what appeared to be a docking bay. Inside, the massive space was dark and silent, filled with the twisted remains of fighter craft and equipment. Jessica's helmet light swept across alien script on the walls, characters that their translation software was already beginning to decode. "Commander, you need to see this," Jessica called out. She was standing near what looked like a maintenance terminal, its screen dark but the housing intact. "There are ports here that look almost like our standard interfaces, just scaled differently. If their tech is built on similar principles to ours, we might be able to establish a connection, back on Earth." In an underground bunker that served as the headquarters for Project Prometheus, Admiral Chen assembled his best minds. The team included Dr. Alan Foster, whose work in quantum computing had revolutionized human technology, Dr. Maria Santos, an expert in material science who had developed the alloys used in humanity's first space elevators, and Colonel David Kim, whose tactical genius had earned him the nickname the Ghost during the Mars Colony Rebellion. The Admiral addressed them with his characteristic directness. "The Kylorians think they've given us scrap metal. I think they've given us the opportunity of a lifetime. That ship out there represents technology decades, maybe centuries ahead of ours. I want to know everything about it. How it works, why it broke, and most importantly, how we can fix it." Dr. Foster raised an eyebrow. "Admiral, with respect, if an advanced alien civilization couldn't repair it, what makes you think we can?" Chen smiled, the expression sharp as a blade, because they tried to fix it like Kylorians. We're going to fix it like humans. We're not going to restore it to what it was. We're going to make it into something new, something that combines the best of their technology with our ingenuity. Over the following weeks, teams of engineers, scientists, and technicians swarmed over the Valorant like ants on a carcass. What they discovered defied the Kylorians' assessment. Yes, the main power core was fused, but humans had been working with fusion technology for decades. Dr. Santos discovered that the exotic matter could be re-energized using a technique similar to how humans jump-started dead batteries, just on a massive scale. The weapon systems were indeed destroyed, but the mounting points and power conduits remained intact. Colonel Kim looked at the empty weapon bays and saw opportunity. Those spaces were perfect for human weapon systems, upgraded with salvaged Kylorian targeting computers that were still functional. The ship's computer core had been wiped, but the hardware was intact. Dr. Foster's team began the painstaking process of creating new software that could interface with the alien systems. The breakthrough came when a junior engineer named Tommy Liu accidentally discovered that the ship's backup power system was still functional. It was a fraction of the main power output, barely enough to light a single deck, but it proved that Kylorian technology wasn't as dead as they claimed. More importantly, it provided a template for understanding how their power systems worked. Sarah Mitchell had moved her command post onto the Valorant, living aboard the alien vessel as repair work continued around the clock. She walked through corridors that were slowly coming back to life, watching as human ingenuity merged with alien engineering. Where Kylorian warriors once strode, human technicians now worked with determination that bordered on obsession. The ship's bridge had been completely destroyed in whatever battle had crippled the Valorant, but that just gave humans the opportunity to rebuild it from scratch. They installed human control systems, comfortable seats designed for human bodies rather than the four-armed Kylorians, and displays that showed information in ways that human minds could quickly process. It was becoming a hybrid, something neither fully human nor fully Kylorian, but potentially greater than either. Marcus Webb stood in what was becoming the new engineering section, watching as his teams installed human-built fusion reactors alongside the slowly recovering Kylorian power core. Commander, we're not just fixing this ship, we're evolving it. The Kylorians built for pure power and durability. We're adding efficiency, adaptability, and redundancy. They had one main power source, a single point of failure. We're installing 12 separate reactors that can work independently or in concert. Sarah nodded, understanding the implications. The Kylorians had built like artists, creating a masterpiece that could be destroyed by damaging the right components. Humans built like survivors, with backup systems for backup systems. Ugly but functional solutions that kept working no matter what went wrong. Resurrection of the Titan. 6 months had passed since the Kylorians had dumped their broken warship in human space. The Jupiter shipyards, hastily constructed to support the restoration project, buzzed with activity that never ceased. The Valorant no longer looked like a derelict. Her hull had been patched with a combination of salvaged Kylorian armor and human-developed composite materials that were somehow stronger than either alone. Where once there were gaping wounds, now there were reinforced sections that looked like scars worn with pride. Admiral Chen stood on the observation deck of the command station, watching as the final external components were installed. The ship had been rechristened the Phoenix, a name that captured both its resurrection and humanity's refusal to accept defeat. Dr. Foster stood beside him, tablet in hand, scrolling through system reports that would have seemed like science fiction just a year ago. The hybrid control system is functioning at 97% efficiency, Foster reported. We've successfully integrated human intuitive interfaces with Kylorian processing power. The ship can now be operated by a human crew of 300, compared to the original Kylorian complement of 2,000. Our automation systems have taken over most of the routine functions that they handled manually. Chen nodded, his attention focused on a particular section of the ship where weapons were being installed. Colonel Kim had outdone himself. The empty weapon bays now housed human-designed railguns that used Kylorian magnetic field generators, creating projectile weapons that could punch through almost any known armor. The destroyed energy weapon systems had been replaced with human missile systems guided by salvaged Kylorian targeting computers, creating a combination that was devastatingly accurate. Maria Santos approached them, her expression one of barely contained excitement. "Admiral Doctor, you need to see this. We've just completed the first full power test of the hybrid core. The results are extraordinary. The Kylorian core, when supplemented with our fusion reactors, is producing 40% more power than it did in its original configuration. The interaction between our technology and theirs is creating an unexpected synergy." Foster's eyes widened as he reviewed the data. This shouldn't be possible. It's like their technology was designed to be incomplete, waiting for something else to make it whole. Or, Chen said thoughtfully, they never thought to try what we're doing. The Kylorians are purists. They wouldn't contaminate their technology with inferior additions. They don't understand that sometimes mixing things makes them stronger. In the Phoenix's new bridge, Commander Sarah Mitchell ran through system checks with her crew. The bridge was a testament to human pragmatism. Where Kylorian design favored sweeping curves and artistic displays, humans had installed practical workstations, redundant controls, and displays that showed critical information at a glance. Lieutenant Commander Jessica Park sat at the tactical station, her fingers dancing over controls that merged human interface design with Kylorian processing power. "Weapon systems are online and responding perfectly," Jessica reported. "The targeting system is incredible. It's predicting movement patterns I wouldn't have even considered. The Kylorian combat algorithms are learning from our tactical doctrine, creating something new." At the helm, Lieutenant Marcus Zhao, one of Earth's best pilots, was grinning like a child with a new toy. "The maneuverability is insane, Commander. The Kylorians built this thing to be a sledgehammer. With our modifications to the thruster systems and inertial dampeners, it moves like something a quarter of its size." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. They had done more than repair the Valorant. They had transformed it into something the galaxy had never seen. The Phoenix was a warship that combined Kylorian durability and power with human creativity and adaptability. It was ugly by Kylorian standards, with visible welds, mismatched armor sections, and weapon systems that jutted out at angles that offended their aesthetic sensibilities. But it was beautiful to human eyes, a testament to their refusal to give up. The moment of truth came sooner than expected. Long-range sensors detected hyperspace distortions consistent with Kylorian technology. The alien fleet was returning, exactly one solar rotation after their first visit as promised. Admiral Chen ordered the Phoenix to remain powered down, hidden among the asteroids near Jupiter. He wanted to see the Kylorians' reaction when they discovered what humanity had accomplished. Ambassador Thyron's ship, the Sublime Harmony, led a formation of 5 vessels toward Earth. His communication to Earth's leadership was formal and slightly condescending. "Greetings, humans of Earth. We return as promised to establish trade relations and to offer guidance to your species as you take your first steps into the galactic community. We trust you have found some use for the materials we left in your care." Admiral Chen's response was polite, but carried an undertone that made several of his staff hide smiles. "Ambassador Thyron, we welcome your return. We have indeed found use for your gift. Would you care to inspect what we've done with it?" There was a pause, presumably while the Kylorians discussed among themselves. "Humor us, human. Show us what you have salvaged from the Valorant's corpse." Chen gave the signal. In the asteroid field, the Phoenix powered up. It wasn't a gradual awakening, but an explosion of energy that lit up every sensor in the system. The warship emerged from hiding, its hybrid drives pushing it forward at speeds that made the Kylorian vessels seem sluggish. It moved with a grace that the original Valorant had never possessed, dancing through space like a predator that had just discovered it could fly. The Kylorian fleet's reaction was immediate and dramatic. Ships that had been maintaining perfect formation scattered, their crews presumably scrambling to understand what they were seeing. The Valorant's unique energy signature was unmistakable, but it was mixed with something else, something distinctly human. Thyron's voice, when it came through the communication channel, had lost all of its condescension. "That's impossible. The Valorant was dead. Her core was fused, her systems destroyed. No species could have restored her." Sarah Mitchell's voice cut through the channel, calm and professional. "Ambassador Thyron, this is Commander Mitchell aboard the Phoenix, formerly your Valorant. We didn't restore her. We rebuilt her. Would you like a demonstration of her capabilities?" Without waiting for a response, Sarah ordered a weapons test. The Phoenix's railguns fired in sequence, each shot precisely aimed at defunct satellites that Earth had designated as targets. The projectiles moved at speeds that Kylorian weapons couldn't match, turning the targets into expanding clouds of debris. Then the missile systems engaged, each missile guided by Kylorian targeting systems to hit targets that were barely visible to human sensors. But the real shock came when the Phoenix demonstrated its defensive capabilities. Dr. Santos had discovered that the Kylorian shield generators, when powered by human fusion reactors, could create overlapping fields that were nearly impenetrable. The ship lit up with a golden glow as multiple shield layers activated, creating a defense that the original Valorant had never possessed. Chen's voice replaced Sarah's on the communication channel. Ambassador Thyron, humanity thanks you for your gift. As you can see, we've made some improvements. The Phoenix represents what our species can accomplish when we work with alien technology. We're not ready to just crawl among the stars, as you put it. We're ready to soar. The silence from the Kylorian fleet stretched for long minutes. When Thyron finally responded, his tone had changed completely. Admiral Chen, I request permission to come aboard the Phoenix. What you have accomplished should not be possible. I must understand how you have done this. The meeting took place in the Phoenix's converted conference room. Thyron's tall form barely fit in the space designed for humans, but he seemed too distracted to care about comfort. His forearms moved constantly as he reviewed technical specifications that Dr. Foster and Dr. Santos presented. His elongated face showed expressions that the humans were beginning to recognize as disbelief, mixed with something that might have been respect. Your approach is so crude, Thyron said, but there was wonder in his voice rather than insult. You've welded your technology to ours without regard for elegance or aesthetic. You've created redundancies where we saw efficiency. You've added complications where we preferred simplicity. And yet it works better than the original design. Colonel Kim leaned forward. With respect, Ambassador, you built the Valorant as a work of art that happened to be a warship. We built the Phoenix as a warship that happens to be ugly. Function over form is very human. Thyron's head tilted. A gesture the humans had learned indicated deep thought. We have encountered many species in our travels. Most who receive our discarded technology attempt to copy it, to learn our ways and imitate them. You have done something different. You've taken our technology and made it yours. This is unexpected and significant. Admiral Chen stood, moving to the viewport that showed Earth in the distance. Ambassador, humanity has a saying that one person's trash is another's treasure. You gave us what you considered worthless. We saw potential. The Phoenix is just the beginning. Imagine what our species could accomplish working together, combining Kylorian sophistication with human adaptability.